And welcome. Sorry, I don't know if this was glitching out on your end. Well, we're already off the rails. Hello and welcome to Hoof Energy, episode 20. I'm your host, Ryan. And as usual, I get to be joined by my co-hosts, Jackson and Kaylie. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Great. How are you doing?
I'm not sure if all that intro stuff glitched out on your end too, but my end was an absolute mess. So this is gonna be a fun show. But we're going to be going over the late pick 5 this Saturday at BAQueduct, which I'm obviously excited to get into, as they have 3 graded stakes on the card. I think 4 stakes in total. So that's going to be a ton of fun to get into. But first, we get to be joined by our friend, the racetrack announcer at Monmouth Park, and now at Monmouth Park for the summer. And we're going to go over the Long Branch Stakes from Monmouth Park this Saturday as well. It's Matt DInerman. Matt, welcome back. You were just with us about a week ago, and happy to have you back now, getting ready to call races at a different racetrack. There's truly no breaks for you.
Yeah, that's right. Glad to be back on. Thanks for having me, guys. And yeah, we've got a pretty lengthy trip in the car from Arkansas to New Jersey. And here we are. And sort of shifting from the south to the northeast region, and Monmouth's right around the corner. So funny how timing works out that way.
It really is. First racing day is Saturday, the 10th, which again, we'll cover the Long Branch Stakes. But let's start with the Kentucky Derby. Jackson, you and I had a show just a few days, or yesterday, not a few days ago, it was yesterday, with our Derby thoughts. And I wanted to get, starting with you, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on the Oaks and Derby weekend. How was it? And then how was it wrapping up at Oaklawn Park?
So the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks weekend I thought was great. I mean, obviously the track was pretty wet on Saturday, but didn't really seem to dampen, no pun intended, didn't seem to dampen anybody's spirits or the racing, because it was terrific. And we saw some really good finishes. I thought Sovereignty, looking back on it, it's sort of like, boy, at 7-1, that seems like a pretty good proposition for a horse like him, considering 2 starts ago, everybody was like, oh, my God, this horse is amazing. And then because he didn't win the Florida Derby, it was like, oh, he might be a little vulnerable. The Oaks was a fine race. Of course, Good Shear, clearly the horse to beat. So with that in mind, I think that the best horses ran the best races in those 2 races in particular. I thought Journalism ran terrific. Was just second best on the day. And then Oaklawn, of course, Monmouth on Saturday, but we wrapped up at Oaklawn, just really good racing, especially on Derby Day. We had about 30,000 people, really good crowd to end things for the meeting. And we had big fields per usual. And it's bittersweet because I love Monmouth. Great track. The fans are amazing. Town loves their racing, as we've talked about. So bittersweet to leave there. But I think we finished the season off really well with a really good last week. And I think besides the weather, that we had a little bit of a rough patch in January and February. There were a few cards we had to cancel. Other than those days, I think that we had a very, very good season.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it was an excellent product all winter and into the early spring there at Oaklawn. Kaylie, I haven't gotten your thoughts on the Derby and Oaks yet. You can touch on the Oaks, but of course, I need to give you your time to talk about the Kentucky Derby. I know it was a great day for you.
Yeah, oh my God, the Derby Day was a great day for me. Same with the Derby. I mean, I really have loved Sovereignty. I've been going on about this horse on like every outlet for so long, so I'm really not gonna annoy you guys with it, but I've loved this horse really since last year in October when I saw him in the Street Sense. I really fell in love with the horse to see him come in, and obviously he was taken very seriously coming in, but 7-1 felt like a really big gift. I think he put Journalism away. It's a matter of, when they meet again, the tables could flip. But I thought it was a very formful race. And the top 4 finishers, I think, are really serious horses that are going to be very entertaining to watch this year. I thought Final Gambit, definitely have to shout that horse out. He had a horrible start, horrible trip. And, I mean, the way that he ran on to pick up 4th was very impressive, obviously Baeza as well. And the Oaks, I mean, Good Shear, she's such a cool filly. Very excited to watch her in Saratoga this summer. So, yeah, 2 very formful races, I thought. And great day.
Yeah, no doubt. But it was one of those where even though it was maybe a little bit formful, it was still satisfying that the best horses showed up, because that's what we want to see. Uh, so Sovereignty to get the best of journalism and to do it the way he did. Jackson, you look like you're sitting on go with something to say. So what's up?
No.
Oh, okay.
I bet journalism to big, and I felt so good when I saw him up on the outside, and I saw this other one. I couldn't see anything. It was so dark, and everyone's all muddy. And here comes journalism. There's a horse on his outside. I'm like, who is that? And he says Sovereignty. I'm like, oh my god, there's no way he outkicks Sovereignty from there with all the momentum. And
it was
he
tell.
By pretty easily, I thought. And in the end, I thought he won pretty easily. I kind of expected
convincingly for sure.
Whatever.
Convincingly. All right. Yeah. Now that we've wrapped up the Oaks and the Derby, let's start off with Monmouth Park. Let's start with the Long Branch Stakes, and then Matt, I would love to just get your thoughts on the upcoming Monmouth season. But for the Long Branch Stakes, we're going 1 mile and 70 yards for these 3-year-olds on the dirt. Matt, do they use this race as kind of a Haskell prep, seeing as it's just strictly for 3-year-olds?
100%. I think last year's Long Branch winner the Long Branch winner ended up running in the Haskell. So this is, by all intents and purposes, a legit prep for the Haskell. Of course, the Haskell is in mid-July. So we've got a couple months there, and I think whoever runs well in this race, depending on how they win the race, I think it's going to determine maybe if they're a legit Haskell contender. But usually horses that win this race do go on to take a shot at it.
Nice. Yeah, we have Cool Intentions, who last ran in the Florida Derby. What were your thoughts on this race? Your lukewarm favorite is the number 8, to the far outside, Pascaline for Arnaud Delacour.
I would agree with when you say lukewarm. I think it really sort of encompasses what kind of race this is this year. I do agree with the morning line maker that this is a very competitive race. Just because you get horses in here that obviously you look at them and they're not fast enough to be Preakness contenders right now, but maybe they can be a Haskell contender and face those types of horses down the road. And you get certain horses that are coming from different places. They've had different paths to get to where they are today. You have a horse like Pascaline, for example, who won the Laurel Futurity going 1 mile over the good surface. It will very, very likely be a wet track on Saturday. So with that in mind, at least we know he likes to run over the wet going. I thought his last race was fine in the Bayshore off a layoff. Really sets him up well for this race here. So I think just when you look at the races he comes out of, I would say he's probably one of the horses to beat. I don't think he's a lock. I think he would be hard-pressed to find a single in a race like this, but a very, very competitive race in this spot, I think.
Without a doubt, a very competitive running of the Long Branch Stakes where, you mentioned Pascaline has handled the good going. It does look like you guys are going to get a little bit of wet weather up there this weekend. So, maybe prepare for that. Kaylie, what were your thoughts on the Long Branch race as we have a nice competitive field with these 8 runners?
Very competitive field, and as Matt already touched on, obviously lots of good horses come out of this race. I think, wasn't it C Streak that won last year? And then
C Streak.
And then he ran 5th in the Haskell. That horse he's a pretty good horse, so always an exciting race. I thought that the 2 to the outside looked pretty dangerous. 2 I'm definitely going to have on my ticket if I end up playing on Saturday here, but definitely I prefer the 7 out of the 2. This horse has really good early speed and should be sitting a nice trip. But I think on top, I'm going to take a shot with the Chad Brown horse that obviously just broke his maiden at Tampa Bay Downs. I thought that was a very smart trip on debut, and in a race that looks like there's a decent amount of speed in it. This horse has shown the ability to pass horses, and I thought ran really well on debut, obviously switching off Lasix, but not too much of a concern. You get possibly, one of the best jockeys at Monmouth as well aboard. So I think I'm going to take a swing with the number 3 here, but I'm going to use the 7 and the 8 underneath 3.
I like it. Yeah. Lordship breaking his maiden at Tampa Bay Downs last time out on debut. It's always impressive to watch a horse that can come from off the pace. Tampa typically, favors those front runners. So anytime you can see a horse break their maiden first time out. This horse is cross-entered in the last race at BAQueduct on Saturday, which we're going to get into and talk about. He is on my pick 5 ticket in that sequence. And I also gave him a good look on this one as well. Matt, I did want to ask, obviously, we have the big Monmouth season coming up here. What do we have to look forward to? Obviously, there's the Haskell in a couple months. Last year's winner was Dornock and Mindframe, or Dornock, and as he and Mindframe faced off in their second of 2 back-to-back Grade 1 kind of battles there. What do we have to look forward to this year as we get back to New Jersey?
Well, we've got 50 racing days. Haskell, of course, July 20th, so mid-July this year. And last year, it was a spectacle. I mean, there were 39,000 people, packed house, beautiful day. Couldn't have been a nicer day. And it ended up being a great day of racing. We had, of course, the Haskell. We had Idiomatic and Sullivan Angel go head-to-head. Who would have thought that Sullivan Angel would eventually be a Breeders' Cup winner and Idiomatic an Eclipse Award winner? Pretty crazy. So that ended up being a heck of a race. The WinStar Matchmaker was that day. We saw Sacred Wish in there, Buddha Cache, both, of course, Grade 1 winners. So, I mean, it's a really great day, and that's obviously the feature day. But we've also got Haskell Preview Day in June, which is a really fun day, I think. And the New Jersey breds, there's a lot of New Jersey bred races here. We run to, like everywhere else, promote the state breeding programs, and they typically draw pretty fun horses like a C Streak, horses that are hard knockers. And every once in a while, I think the New Jersey breds are starting to improve little by little in terms of quality. We're seeing some of them run against Open Company and doing pretty well. So it's been real fun to be able to learn more about Monmouth the last year. And this year, of course, Saturday's opening day, 12:50 Eastern, will be first post time. And we're looking forward to it to mid-September, Friday, Saturday, Sunday racing, with the exception of the first 4 weeks and then the last couple weeks in September. So it's going to be a really good time. And if you can come out here, I think you should, because it's a beautiful track. And every week, one thing I really like about Monmouth is they all have always got something, whether it be a wine festival, food truck festival. Every week, there's always something going on. And the marketing team does a really good job here with that. And it's a really family-friendly environment.
Without a doubt. I know Kaylie has a date circled on her calendar when she'll be out there at Monmouth Park, because she's from that area. I know I'll get out there once I'm out there for Belmont Stakes weekend, because it's just, a short trip away. So, Jackson, I guess you're the last one on the pod here that's going to have to make a trip out to Monmouth this summer.
I've been there before. You have not, sir. So
okay.
You gotta go out there.
Okay, well, that's fair. All right. I forgot that you had been there.
Mikey, we might try to play the Pick Your Prize contest. So maybe if we qualify for that, we'll make our way out. I think that's the weekend before the Belmont, if I'm not mistaken. So
there we go.
It'll be a lot of fun. And Matt, I have a question just real quick. Is the United Nations, that's my favorite stakes race they have there, is the 1.5 mile or 1.375 one. Is that on the Haskell day as well, or is that a different day?
It is. In the United Nations is always the race before the Haskell. So last year we had a really good field. There were 12 entered, 11 ended up running. And we saw Christophe Clement's big turf router there get the win. It will be very interesting. I just have to throw this side note. It'll be interesting what happens with that race and if what NYRA did affects it, because they essentially moved their big turf route race, the Sword Dancer, back 3 weeks, which is it's sort of a question mark, because usually you get horses that would run in the UN and then they'd run in the Sword Dancer.
Right.
Now you've got the Arlington Million, the United Nations, and you've got the Sword Dancer all within a span of 2 weeks. So it's I don't know exactly why they did that, but it'll be interesting. I'm hoping that field can contain a decent-sized field, because usually the United Nations is a very good race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely always. Go ahead, Jackson.
No, yeah, it's my favorite race. As much as I love the Haskell, I think
yeah.
that's my favorite race they have at Monmouth for sure. I
It's
had a
fun.
quick. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying it's a fun race. It is a very fun race, and it was a good finish last year.
Yeah, and they always get a big field for it, so it's really cool. My other question is, you mentioned the weather this weekend. It does tend to rain pretty frequently out at Monmouth. Do you notice it changes how the track plays, or is it still? I mean, obviously dirt's going to usually be pretty speedy, but does the weather usually you see changes in the way the track will play?
I mean, last year I didn't really see it. I thought it's like any other dirt track, any other track in America. I mean, they do. I mean, I've noticed that at this track in general, like you said, it's a lot like Del Mar. When you turn for home, you want to be around there unless there's a pace collapse. Right. You want to be within 2-3 lengths of the lead. You'll be hard pressed to find closers over this track, deep closers anyway, winning. But the wet going, I don't think that really changes anything. I will say this turf course here is actually probably the fastest drying turf course in America. And the reason that is because when they made this turf course years and years and years ago, they actually put on the team to build it a golf course designer. And the golf courses are made so that they drain fairly quickly. So the positive here is, let's just say you get a little bit of rain, and this weekend maybe – I think my guess would be they'd be a little bit careful running on it. They might not they don't want to chew it up. I'm hoping that we can run on it this weekend, but that's far from certain. But if we get a little bit of rain, let's just say we get a half of inch of rain and it's sunny the next day, usually we can run on it because it dries pretty quickly. So, but we're expecting a lot more tomorrow. So, but going back to your original question, dirt I don't see much of a change there in terms of biases or anything like that because it's wet.
Nice. Cool. All right, Matt, obviously, thank you so much for, taking the time. Before we get you out of here, you obviously, again, just concluded the racing season at Oaklawn Park. The first time you were on our show, I asked you about your favorite call of all time, which was the horse at Golden Gate Fields. And I forget that the name's escaping me, but I know you know the race I'm talking about. This past Oaklawn season, was there a race that just got you the most excited? Whether it was watching Torpedo Anna win or was it a really close finish? Was there one that stood out this season?
The Golden Gate race, by the way, Morning Addiction. That's her name.
Morning Addiction.
Yep. She's that's an all timer for sure. I don't think I'll ever call a race like that ever again. I don't know how I could or see it. I'm going to say this one race. Torpedo Anna was fun. Obviously, I can give you the morning line favorites for what kind of races I'd say. Here, Sandman winning the Arkansas Derby. The Torpedo Anna winning the Apple Blossom and the Azeri. But one race that really fired me up was actually closing day when Saudi Crown and Mystic Dan went at it. That was a lot more fun of a race for me than I would have imagined it to be. Saudi Crown, a very nice horse. Mystic Dan I think we might have mentioned it on here the last time I was on here that he was training really well going into that race. And I really believe there was still something there. And he almost beat a really good horse that got a clear lead and had every right to just walk the dog and win. And he really took it to him. And I thought ran a winning race. So just two really nice horses there, obviously a Kentucky Derby winner. And it was really a great way to end the stakes at Oaklawn because we always have such good stakes there. And that's the last stake. So to see that was a fun race to call and a fun race to watch for a fan.
Yeah, I could hear it.
That was awesome. It was great stretch battle.
Yeah, I went from watching the Derby, flipped it over to Oaklawn, and got to see you call that race. You could hear the excitement, no doubt, as they were coming down the stretch in your voice there, Matt. That was it was awesome to hear. The energy was pretty second to none. Go ahead, Jackson.
I gotta say, there still has not been a Derby winner to come back and win in a while. He was right there. He was right there, but it still hasn't happened in quite some time.
Yeah, we got to ask Matthew DeSantis because he has the running day counter. So he'd know exactly how many days it's been.
He was this close to being that horse, but man, I wish he did because both of them got a 101 buyer. So they ran fast. So we need these Derby horses to come back and win something here. We need them to do it. It's good for the game.
It's great.
Yeah, it was a great call. I remember you had said prior that Mystic Dan looked good, so I took him pretty seriously going into that based off those comments, and he sure delivered. I mean, I was really rooting for him, especially after watching the Derby and flipping to that added to the excitement. But
it was crazy. He ran like 15 minutes after the Kentucky Derby. I mean. And the crowd at Oaklawn, they were all for him. I mean, they did the same thing as Torpedo Anna. When I announced his name in the post parade, I paused and the whole crowd started cheering for him. And after the race, I said, let's I know it was like sort of like a fair type of thing to do, but I'm like, let's give them a round of applause, everybody. And everybody started cheering when they both came back, and they both came back together to get unsaddled. Saudi Crown went to the winner's circle and Mystic Dan went back home, but they all got an ovation, and it was just a really cool thing. It was a really cool race.
It was a lot of fun to watch, and yeah, the timing with it being so close to the Kentucky Derby finishing was awesome, to say the least. Matt, can't thank you enough for all the time you've given us, both today, last week, and hopefully in the future as you continue to join us, because I'm sure we'll have you on Haskell Preview Day and for Haskell Day, as we'll be sure to cover those races. But I'll let you get situated. I know you just had a long drive that you just completed to get up there from Arkansas all the way up to New Jersey. So thank you again. Best of luck to you this weekend in this upcoming racing season. I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
Of course, Matt. Anytime. All right. Obviously, always fun to talk to Matt DInerman. And yeah, that last race, it's called the Trail's End, I think. Their last stakes race to end it with Mystic Dan and Saudi Crown throwing it down. No, that wasn't it, Jackson?
Trail's End is the 1 3/4 race.
You're right.
That's the very last race, but that was on Sun. Whatever.
That was whatever.
I was waiting to ask you guys really quick before we change the Monmouth topic. I was waiting to ask you guys a fun trivia question.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna give you a hint. Greatest filly ever, but who?
I'm out.
Who won I think 2008 or 2009? 2009 Haskell.
You don't know who it was, Rachel.
Yeah, it was the second greatest filly or mare of all time.
Well, technically, Zenyatta, when she won all her races, was a mare, so she can have.
True. She can have the filly title.
We'll give the mare title to Zenyatta. How about that?
Oh, there we go.
That'll keep everyone happy for this. The next.
Had to bring that up.
No, that is a fun trivia question for Rachel Alexander. Yeah, the greatest filly. We can say that. We can say the greatest filly to ever touch the racetrack. All right. Before we start a Rachel versus Zenyatta debate, let's go ahead and talk about the late pick 5 this Saturday at Aqueduct, assuming my Wi-Fi continues to cooperate with me. We're going to go through race by race. We're going to throw our pick 5 tickets up. We don't necessarily have top threes, but we're going to talk about all the horses that we have in the race. Jackson, well done. Your ticket is in there. So let me throw this up real quick. And there's a chance that my Wi-Fi, for whatever reason, I might have to take a little reset. But either way, Jackson has a $9 pick 5 ticket. So he's going to be talking for about 5 words, it seems, during this sequence. But I'm looking forward to hearing them. Kaylie, your ticket is $40.50 and mine is $60. We'll start with the first leg, race number 7. And I realize that I'm not even sharing the screen. So that would help. Oh, man. Okay.
You're doing great. You got this.
The Wi-Fi is just not having it right now. All right. Race number 7, the grade 3 John A. Nehrude Stakes. We're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. I went 1-4-5 in my pick 5 ticket. Jackson singled the 5. Kaylie went 1-3-4. So Kaylie, you're going to start us off because the number 3 is your morning line favorite. What you talking about? For Wesley Ward, Irad Ortiz hops aboard. You clearly think this horse is a big threat right back off that 106 buyer, and so does the morning line maker.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the horse ran a pretty good race off a layoff before, off almost a year layoff. So this isn't that long of one. And I think that 106 buyer speed figure obviously jumps out at the page. That horse had a really great race that day, obviously, has really good speed. There looks to be a lot of horses that like to be forwardly placed in this race. But yeah, I did include the morning line favorite here. I was a little bit nervous to leave him off, but definitely wanted to include the number 1 and the number 4 as well. The number 1 obviously is going to be Sending from the Rail. This horse has ran really good races at this distance and always runs a good race. This horse is just always consistent. Won the Tom Fool, obviously, and is in very good form recently. I definitely don't. I mean, last time out was kind of up against it. I think cutting back to the 6 furlong distance is going to help this one out. So wanted to include this one. And then I also included the number 4, Surveillance. This is a horse that has run good races of either tracking the pace, sitting right off of it. And I think that's going to come in handy when you have a whole bunch of horses in here that like to be forwardly placed. I think this one could be kind of sneaky and pick up some pieces. So wanted to include this one as well.
Yeah, I included the number 4 Surveillance for the same reasons. I thought this one's a bit sneaky. He's been chasing some slow paces, has been setting some slow fractions up front. So I think this is one. It looks like there's a lot of pace in here on paper. A lot of horses, again, with the. I feel like we've had this same conversation. A lot of these horses want to be in the exact same position throughout the duration of the race. So it's really just going to depend on where they are early. I'm with you. I think Full Moon Madness from the rail is going to send to the lead. So that might put him at an advantage. Certainly the past couple of racing days at BAQueduct during their Belmont meet, it has favored speed. It's favored those front runners. So something to pay attention to as we get a little closer, although I think it's supposed to rain there over the next day or so. So maybe keep an eye out. Maybe that changes the track conditions, but something to point out. And then, I think the 4 Surveillance certainly deserves a lot of consideration, as does the number 5 Anarchist for our buddy Doug O'Neill. Jackson, you're singling this horse, the kind of fresh face amongst the group. So go ahead and take it away on your single to start this sequence.
Yeah, well, you guys kind of touched upon it. I thought it was a pretty wide open race where they all went the same exact trip. This horse is the best post in here. I guess I should probably start with the 3. The 3, what you're talking about, obviously runs back to that 106 or 7, whatever it was. He'll be very tough, but it concerns me that he hasn't been seen since. I think he was actually entered a couple times at Keeneland, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe even at AQueduct as well. So it's not like this was intentional. He's missed a couple of starts for whatever reasons. So that does concern me. I'm a little concerned if he can replicate that without Lasix and just things I didn't love at 6-5. I mean, if he's 4-1, that's one thing. 6-5, I'll try to beat him. So I went with the 5 Anarchist, who seems like he's finally rounding back into form. I think he just kind of rough post positions, honestly. If you look into his form last year, drew the rail, had to send. Comeback race, drew the rail, just didn't run that great. Maybe last time he finally was getting back into form. I mean, he did all the dirty work trying to chase Booth, who might be the best sprinter in the country so far of 2025. Pressed him the entire way around there. Never did quite go by that rival, but that was a step in the right direction. He's run plenty of races in his career where that would be plenty good enough to win. And again, the post I think might be the key because he can just park himself on the outside, stay out of trouble, stay in the clear, get into a good rhythm, and we'll see what he's got in the stretch. But I think, if I'm right, great, move on. If I'm wrong, whatever. I'm not spending too much on this pick 5. We'll just move on to the next bet.
Yeah, I like it. You mentioned though Booth, the runner for Steve Asmussen. He might have 2 or 3 of the best sprinters in the country right now with Skelly, who's come back in a really strong way, and then of course you have Booth that you just mentioned, who has done nothing wrong in his 2 races. So certainly something to keep an eye on. I used Anarchist for the same reason. We got to text Shane, and if Shane says Anarchist is doing really well and we're looking forward to it, I'm going to go ahead and take Anarchist off the tickets. If it's more of a we'll see type of vibe, I might single Anarchist as well. So got to text our buddy, see how he's doing. No, but
text him right now. Let's see what he says. Let's do this live.
There we go. All right. Oh, I guess I have to text him. I'll do that after we move on to the next leg. But Anarchist, again, this one makes a lot of sense. I like the fresh face angle. I like the outside speed. You mentioned it. Kind of drew a nice post here, so certainly in with a shot. Now, I guess 4th start since coming back from Seoul, Korea, which is not a place you see Doug O'Neill ship to very often. But I like it.
That was kind of my thought process because I left this one off. I'm going to try to beat him. Listen, I mean, this horse obviously ran a really good 3rd to Booth. That figure is pretty big compared to the 2 starts prior to that. I mean, I'm just a little bit skeptical that after this horse comes back from Korea, that he's going to be in the same form. That's just something I'm always a little bit skeptical of. Just looking at the races prior, I mean, the horse hasn't run anything close to that besides that 95, which could be because he ran 3rd to Booth. But I'm not really sure. I could be dead off. So I left this one off. Just going to try to, let him beat me if he does. But taking a little bit of a wait and see. But interesting, does get Joel Rosario aboard.
So that was an interesting number because, like you said, he was running slow. He was running 81 his last 2 starts before that one. Booth was running 107. And then they finished length apart, and the number was kind of right in the middle. I don't think they really knew what to do with that one. So I'd be curious to see how they both run back out of that race.
Yeah, same.
Me too. All right, that's the first leg, race number 7, the John A. Nehrude. Jackson is singling the 5 Anarchist. I'm using the 1, 4, and 5. Kaylie is using the 1, 3, and 4. No love to the 2 Silver Slugger, but I mean, I get it. I didn't give this horse much love either. We'll go on to race number 8, second leg of this pick 5. Only race that we're covering that's not a stake. It's a mile and a 16th on the turf course, 3-year-olds and upwards, optional claiming, non-winners of 2 other than. We all have singles in this leg, although I am singling a different horse than you guys. I'm singling the 1 Activist Investing. Jackson
Ryan,
and
start us
Kaylie.
off. Tell us why you're wrong.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, I'm singling the 1 Activist Investing. Kaylie and Jackson are singling the 4 Enlighten. I have a text back from Shane O'Neill, but I'll go over that one after I go over Activist Investing and I let you guys speak your points. Yeah, look, I get it. The number 4, clearly the horse to beat, but that's a pretty common race that a lot of those runners are coming out of. The winner, who Sherlock's Jewel came back to win today, actually, in the, I want to say, second to last race. At Belmont Big A, Flavian Pratt ran down Big Everest and Donegal Momentum for a nice win. It's had a really nice trip, but certainly looks like that horse has turned a corner. For me, it was kind of just taking the new player in here. There's, again, a lot that are coming out of the same race and a lot that I didn't want. I like when Chad only has 1 entry in a race like this. Typically, you see him with 2. The fact he just has this one in here as Jackson disappears into the ether speaks to me that, this horse is probably sitting on go and sitting on a good effort. I know has come off some layoff lines, and they've had trouble keeping this one kind of at the races, but that last race at Gulfstream was promising enough, closed into a slow pace, and that's typically pretty hard to do over the speedway that tends to be the Gulfstream Park turf course. Comes up in here in pretty good order. Irad obviously takes the call. Chad Brown's off to a really hot start to the meet, as he typically always is. And Jackson, I'll turn it over to you now as we go to the number 4. Again, I just wanted to take a stand in here. The number 4, Enlighten, certainly deserves a strong look. But again, coming out of a pretty common race, I wanted to kind of, zig when you guys are zagging, so to speak. So, Jackson, what made you land on the 4 here?
Yeah, he kind of just seems like the now horse. I mean, he's really done nothing wrong in any of his turf starts. He kind of just continues to improve little by little. Especially look at the time form. The Buyer, I know he's regressed a little bit, but time for numbers are pretty strong for all those races. And it's not like he's only done it at Gulfstream. He ran a really good second to Gugino right here at AQueduct a couple years ago. So I don't think the surface will be a big problem in here. And he just projects to get a really good trip. I mean, there's not a ton of speed. He's got plenty of tactical speed. He'll probably just sit that pocket trip. He also has the best jockey in the country, so I trust Pratt to put him wherever he needs to be, however the pace develops. And I just think he's the now horse. I think he's going to get the right trip in here.
Kaylie, how about you? What were your thoughts on the number 4 Enlighten?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a horse that Todd's bringing from, that was just running at Gulfstream Park and running some pretty competitive races down there in terms of the figures that he was running compared to the other runners in this field. I think that he drew a lot better on Saturday than he did in his last start as well. He's a horse that can come from right off the pace. And I mean, like Jackson said, he has the best jockey in the country aboard. So, I mean, Todd just, brought this one up from Gulfstream Park, placed him right here, put the best jockey up, and he's already on par with what these other horses have been running. So I'm going to take a shot and try to single him. And I'm glad. I mean, I think he will be honestly your post-time favorite, even though he is not the morning line favorite. Maybe those two flip-flop a little, but yeah, that was kind of the idea. I saw this as the horse to beat.
I like it. It could very well be a 2-1, 5-2 situation as they're going in the gate. Favorite could easily be, Chad Brown or Pletcher, either one. But to touch on Anarchist, the number 5 horse in the last race, the text I got was that Anarchist came out of that race at Oaklawn really well. He's been training really well, and they felt that this was a good, ambitious spot for him. And they're expecting him to, run back to that Oaklawn race. So I texted Shane back. I will be fading this horse off of all the confidence there. And I was really hoping he'd be a little iffy about him, just so I could know to single. But no, obviously, always good to hear that our buddy Doug O'Neill and Shane O'Neill are placing a horse that's doing really well in a spot like this where, we don't see him show up with too many runners up in your neck of the woods, Kaylie. But seeing this, maybe we see Raging Torrent in the Met Mile a little later on. It's going to be fun to keep an eye on. But Anarchist certainly looks to be doing really well. And not to pivot too far off of this sequence, but the Met Mile probables look ridiculous, I think would be the only word I could think of to use. I see that Mulligan isn't going to be there, but I mean, Mindframe, who won, you have, Nisos and so many of those runners. It's going to be an incredible race to see first who turns up, and then obviously handicapping it's going to be one of those kind of fun nightmare puzzles that we're going to get to do. But to throw it back to race number 8 here, hey, we both have to take a stand somewhere. So you guys are both with the number 4 Enlighten, and then I am on the number 1 Activist Investing. Jackson, did you see this as just strictly a 2-horse race? Or is there anybody else that deserves a mention here before we move on?
The 6 and 7 are interesting just because of the speed types. It was tough to say which one is going to get the lead in here. Like if one of them gets loose, they're very dangerous. But I wasn't sure which one is going to get loose in here. And even if someone does, I just feel like the 4 is going to be tucked in right behind him, because you look at all his good races, it's kind of what he does. He just sits a length off and can probably outkick these ones home. But the 6 and 7 are the ones to be worried about. But you gotta take stands in these races and do it somewhere. And I'm going to do it in this spot.
No doubt. Kaylie, what did you think about the 6 and the 7 runners? Bonus move, and it's all coming together.
Kind of similar thoughts. I just kind of wanted to fade them. I mean, I just felt really strongly about the 4, jumped off the page. So once I saw that, I didn't really pay too close of attention to those 2 afterwards. But yeah, definitely took a long look.
Yeah, very fair. I mean, I'm in a similar boat. I think both of them are going to run the exact same race, probably up on the pace. I think that last race for It's All Coming Together was a little different than what he's shown he's best at. So I'd anticipate him to be back up on the lead, especially with Jose Gomez aboard, who's normally pretty aggressive out of there. So I'd anticipate them going around, and I wouldn't be surprised if Turning for Home, Enlighten, and Activist Investing are pretty much, making the same move at the same time. It's going to be a matter of kind of who gets the cleaner chip, who gets the jump on the other. But I think they're both well-deserving. They're not co-favorites, but 5-2, 3-1. I'm going to go ahead and just lump them in together because they're going to be taking the majority of the money throughout the duration of this. Jackson, you look puzzled. Did I say something? All right. That's race number 8. You're muted, but that's all right. We'll move on to race number 9. Take the A Train. Something Jackson and I have not done, but Kaylie, I'm sure you've taken the A Train a time or two in your life.
Just an hour ago.
There we go. So a horse that I want to talk about that I think this entire race is going to revolve around is the number 7, Lovely Emma, who looks to be the controlling speed if she runs here. She's entered in a race Saturday at Churchill Downs. So, Jackson, we spoke about this race yesterday. We obviously mentioned that Lovely Emma seems to be cross-entered in here. If she shows up in this spot, what chances did you give her, as you're the only one between the 3 of us that did not have her on your ticket?
No, she's obviously very dangerous if she is controlling speed, which it looks like she probably will be. I just, the one number she got, she could not have had an easier lead, and they didn't even go that fast. I have a hard time seeing them give her the lead in this race. They're not going to hand it to her. If they do, then I'll just be wrong. I just don't think that's going to happen in these turf sprint stake races. But she's obviously dangerous.
Yeah, speed's been really good. Obviously, you have the best jockey in the country on her back on Saturday if she were to run in this spot. I have this horse. I think I meant to take this off or just mention it, but I have this horse in parentheses. If Lovely Emma were to draw in, I'm probably going to single her in this sequence because I do think she just kind of gets to the lead under Flavien Prat, and I think that's all it's going to take, especially with the really nice works coming in for Peter Urton and CRK Stable, who have been really aggressive with their spots lately. Normally, we just see them kind of out in California, but we've seen them at Turfway, Gulfstream, obviously Churchill Downs with Baeza, who just ran a really nice 3rd, and then now up at Saratoga. So they've been really aggressive with their placement. They're running their best horses in the best races. So I would give Lovely Emma a very huge shot in here. Kaylie, this is another horse that you used on your tickets. What did you like about Lovely Emma? And then go ahead and talk about the number 8 right after as well.
Yeah, I was kind of tempted to single this horse. Definitely, if she is 100% going here, I'm going to take a second look, maybe make my ticket a little cheaper, because this one is another one that kind of jumped off the page at me as well. Peter Urton very rarely ships horses to Aqueduct or Belmont at Aqueduct or here. So I looked up, and I think it was like 2 horses over the last 5 years. So you have to kind of figure that if he's placing this horse here, this horse is coming to win. And he's putting the best jockey in the country aboard as well. So yeah, I think this one is the controlling speed, and there was also no one that drew to her outside that scared me whatsoever in terms of, her controlling things up on the front end. So yeah, definitely saw this as the horse to beat. But for now, I did include the 8 as well.
Kaylie, real quick. just because I started to interrupt, but I did find an article which says scratches on here. Lovely Emma is going to run in New York, as is Hey Birdie. Bunratty Manor and Serving Time are going to run in Kentucky. So
wait, who's running in Kentucky?
Bunratty Manor and Serving Time. I don't know what numbers those are.
Okay.
So the 1 and
Serving Time is the 9 in this race.
The 1 and 9 are out.
Got it. All right, thank you, Jackson. That is that's helpful information for us.
That is very helpful.
Probably should have done that earlier, but whatever. We got it now. We're good.
Hey, better late than never, right?
Back to Kaylie. Floor is yours.
All right, back to Kaylie for Hey Birdie, the 8, the other horse that you used.
Yeah, so I guess I have all 3 that are running in New York. So yeah, I touched on the 7. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to end up singling, maybe on race day, but I saw this. I mean, I'd put this horse on top, but I did use the 8 to her outside as well. Obviously, Cherie DeVoe. This horse can come from off the pace, actually came from pretty way out of it last time out, and that was also first off a little bit of a layoff. So I'm imagining now second time off a layoff that this one's going to improve even more and has a little bit of freedom because this horse obviously showed some speed on the dirt in her first start, and then came from way out of it on the turf. So I mean, this one's breaking towards the outside, can kind of play the break a little bit, get into good position. But yeah, definitely one I wanted on my ticket. I thought those are the 2 horses that are in, or that I've run the most competitive races of this group. And then I'm also using the number 4, the Christophe Clement horse. That's 5-1 on the morning line. This is another one that has run very competitive races compared to here. I viewed these 3 as really your main players. This one is, another one that I think can sit a really nice trip. I thought maybe last time out was just a little bit too long. Maybe this one is a bit more forwardly placed on Saturday. But yeah, definitely another one I wanted to include on my ticket.
I like it. This one was a big threat. I did change my ticket to single to 7, lovely Emma, while you were talking. So thank you for going on about that one. But this was one I used on my initial ticket if I was going to be spreading pretty deep. Jackson, I want to get out to you. First, a long shot I thought deserved a look was this one, Got to Brazil, for Brittany Russell, Kendrick Carmouche aboard. Blinkers going on. I would expect this one to be maybe a little bit more forward, but I thought this one maybe had an outside chance. I like the aggressive placing here. Obviously, it was placed first last time with the DQ, but I like to see that, a horse, she ran a really good race last time. Brittany Russell sees it fit to throw this one into a graded stakes. Or a listed stakes, I should say, next time out. So I want to give this one a shot, most likely underneath, but you never know. Kendrick Carmouche has always been aggressive, and he's always kind of taken it to him early. So maybe this one kind of sits right behind the pace. Maybe this one, has a substantial move forward in her. But Jackson, I want to go out to you to talk about the number 6, Anna's Call. Yeah.
Just real quick on your 5, I don't hate it at all. I mean, you're looking at some of her time for numbers. They're every bit as good as everyone else in this field. I mean, they're right there. And she takes another step forward, she could be tough. This is a good race. I mean, it's pretty wide open, so I'm not going to talk you off anyone in here. Yeah, I do think the 6 would be my top pick, though. Anna's Call. I just loved all of her races last year. I love the versatility she showed. She won from on the lead. Then she came back at Aqueduct and came flying late from way out of it. And you guys know I'm a race flow guy. That was a race that just completely did not fall apart at all. The speed just went merry-go-rounded around there. She's the only one that made any kind of move from off the pace. And she nearly got the job done that day behind Me Governor, who's a decent horse. So nothing wrong with those races. She does need to step forward a bit in her first start as a 3-year-old, but she's tactical enough, I think, to keep these leaders in her sights and probably gets first jump on some of those deeper closers. I
like it. Let's go out to you, Jackson, again, to stick with the number 11, Warming. Who is going to likely draw into this race, considering you just named 2 horses that are going to scratch. This horse for Grand Motion, should have seen this one coming.
Yeah, big motion guy over here. Look, anytime motion horses win first time out and win the way she did, my ears are going to perk up because that was really impressive. And he doesn't win first time out. He doesn't really win with 2-year-olds, and he doesn't really win sprinting. So she did a lot of things that he doesn't normally do. So that really opened my eyes to this horse. If I'm not mistaken, she was entered at Woodbine in the grade 1 after that, and then obviously it got moved, and then I don't think she ever ran again. Something happened, but
I was going to say that was the day where it was like a complete deluge and they canceled it, right?
It was something like that. I know she was entered. Obviously something happened, but it was just really impressive. And I don't know if she's still the same horse. I don't know if she's going to improve it all, but I needed her on a ticket because I just remember being super impressed with the way she won last time. So I'm not going to let her beat me. And she's going to be a decent present here with the outside post and being in the AE and all that stuff. So definitely want to use her as well.
Yeah, I like it. This is one I included on my original ticket as well. But again, seeing as Lovely Evan's going to run here, I'm going to go ahead and plant my flag on that train. So, Jackson, before we move on, the number 8 Hey Birdie that is on Kaylie's ticket, one I certainly gave a look to. What do you make of the Cherie DeVoe runners that come off the bench, a move that she's not, really known for? But this runner came off the layoff and won. And now gets placed in a stake race. Obviously, Kaylie's nodding her head in agreement that this is a good sign going forward. I don't anticipate you thinking this is a bad sign, but I just want to know, what are your thoughts as you were just talking about a horse who kind of bucked the trend for Graham Motion, doing something that, he's not normally good at. What are your thoughts when Cherie does the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime she does, it's good. I just don't know. This isn't like a 180-day layoff. It was 4 days past the 60-day threshold for being a layoff. So I don't want to put too much stock in it, but she did what she was supposed to do, which is improve second time out, which is what the Cherie barn does. And again, that number she earned, I think, is the fastest in the field. So that nothing wrong with that at all. Does have to come off Lasix, which is a question mark, but this is obviously a big contender in this spot. I just liked others a little bit more and didn't want to overspread in this race.
I like it. All right.
I did forget to mention another point on the number 4 as well. Just important. That's why I want to go back. But this horse finished second to Nitrogen, in the second to last start before going on the bench, but not really, only like 3 months. But yeah, and all Nitrogen has done since that has been winning stakes races. So definitely something that stuck out to me as well.
And not just winning, like romping. I mean, she's really good.
Nitrogen is my favorite filly in the turf division right now. She's doing everything right, and I'm excited to see where she turns up next. I assume it's going to be up in your neck of the woods, Kaylie, maybe like Belmont Stakes weekend, something like that. So, Bernardi Manera is the other one you said is or is not running.
Is not
running.
Which
so going to run at
Churchill. Pace, so that's a big scratch.
It does. That does. She was going to be forward from the rail. She was one I included if Lovely Emma wasn't going to run here. But that's race number 9, the Take the A-Train Stakes. We'll go on now to end with the graded stakes double, starting with the Grade 2 Ruffian Stakes. As soon as this thing loads here, there we go. We're going a mile, the one-turn mile, 4-year-old fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward for the fillies and mares. I spread 5 deep in this race. Jackson, you went 3 deep. Kaylie, you went 3 deep. Kaylie, you went 4, 10, and 11. Jackson went 1, 10, 11. I went 3, 5, 8, 9, and 11. Jackson, we'll start on the rail. We'll just go to the rail and work our way out. Take the Money Honey, a horse that you're using in your ticket at a nice 10-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, I'll try to find out about scratches in this race because I think there's a lot that are also cross-entered. So I'll do that in a second. I just think there's a lot of speed. There's a lot of horses that want to sit a couple lengths off or come from way out of it, and she might be a little loose in this spot, especially from the rail. I think they're going to send her and just hope for the best because that's her West. Yes. Yep. We got to get. So sorry to interrupt you, but we gotta shout you out. You did win a tournament today. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a good week so far. Yeah. But yeah, I think this one might be dangerous. Might get the front end in here, and is she as fast as some of these? Not quite yet, but I mean that last race, what was wrong with that? 94 buyer, 111 time form. That's pretty strong, and she's still lightly raced. It's not like a lot of these have run 20, 30 times. She's got a lot of upside still, so she could theoretically take another step forward. The no Lasix is the biggest question for her, but she's run well over this track and she's got a lot of speed. So that's good enough for me at 10-1.
She was a runner that I looked really closely at. Obviously, the always improving type has always run a race considerably better than her previous. I forgot to write down the stat, but Michael Moore running off Lasix was not the strongest. I think it's 1 win for 15 or something like that. So that was enough to dissuade me. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But from the rail, you mentioned just going to sit a couple lengths off of it, and maybe that's going to be the best place. I hope Ruiz can kind of stick to the rail.
No, go, send, don't sit off.
You're just saying just go. Okay.
There's no speed. You got to go. It's your best chance.
I think that this one's going to have gun song breathing right down her neck.
You're very well good, but I still think her best chance is to try to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take the next one as we're just working our way out here in the in the field. The three Catherine Wheel. Honestly, the morning line price of 8-1 is what stood out to me here. She's been a favorite in the majority of her races. She's never been this price. She didn't run a terrible race last time over the muddy and sealed surface at Laurel, given she was probably supposed to win that race and hasn't really gone on as her 4-year-old season. Excuse me, but. I thought this one deserved a look. Going to sit off the pace. I agree. I think Gunsong's going to be up on the lead. Another one I believe I used in here. Go ahead, Jackson.
I'm ready. I found them.
Okay.
The
scratches. Here we go.
Dazzling Move and Claret Barrette. I don't think that's how you say it, but that's how I'm going to say it. Those two scratched. I don't know what numbers are.
I think it's Claret Beret, but we'll give it to you. So thank you. That's good to know because I think all of the horses that we're looking at have been cross-entered so far from the 1, 2, 3, and a bunch of the others. So that's good news. I'll point those out as we get to those.
So it's the 2 Safis you said?
Yeah, he has 3. So the only one he's running is where'd it go? Here's the kicker is the only one that's running.
Okay. There we go. The 3 Catherine. Okay. I like it. Thank you for looking that up. I'll be sure to check those for our shows going forward, seeing as there were like 16 horses that were cross-entered in the 3 races that we've made it through so far. So, Catherine Wheel, obviously, again, Flavian Prada board, 8-1 for Chad Brown. That's something to look into. I don't think we'll get that price just based on those connections. Probably come down to around 5-1 maybe. But I think there's some other really talented horses in this field. And I think this runner, on her best day, can certainly fire a winning effort. So I want to give this one more look. I'm pretty skinny with the rest of my tickets, so I wanted to spread deep here. Hope to find a price. Next one we'll go out to is the number 4, Kaylie. I'll throw it out to you for Sterling Silver, of course, for Belmont, who just coming off the Derby win. But go ahead and take it away with Sterling Silver here.
Yeah, for the red hot Belmont barn. Obviously, Derby aside, I mean, I can't make it up. I think he's won a race at BAQueduct every day since the Derby. Or at least I know I've won on one of his horses every day since the Derby. So it seems like the streak is really continuing. Jokes aside, though, I mean, it should be a really fast pace here, or at least, pretty honest pace. And I think it should set up pretty nicely for a horse like the number 4, Sterling Silver. She never really runs a poor race. If you look back to, those last few, she's always in the money. Last time out was over a muddy track, and she was able to get the win. And we should be getting maybe a little bit of rain. I mean, not so much that I let it influence my handicapping, but it is a positive that this one handles an off track as well as a fair track. But yeah, I thought that this one should set a really nice trip. With the amount of speed that's in here, and drew pretty well as well.
I agree. And second off the bench for Bill Mott, obviously an improvement angle. She's another one who kind of went against that trend where Mott doesn't have him ready first time out, but she won pretty convincingly last time with what looks like a career best buyer, at least going back to March of last year at Tampa to match that buyer. So I like it. She's going to come in here. She's certainly a win candidate threat on the front end. Go ahead,
I didn't use her just because I didn't want to use both favorites, but she's so cool. I mean, she shows up every single time. She runs short, she runs middle, she runs long, snow, mud, slop, fast track. She just shows up every single time. She's awesome. I love her.
Yeah, she is the ultra consistent horse who just keeps showing up and keeps showing out. The female version of Post Time. Number 5, here's the kicker, is another horse I wanted to use. Jackson, you mentioned this is the only Saffie Joseph horse staying in the field. I picked this horse before I knew that. But I don't know. Something about this horse just makes me think she's going to fire a pretty big effort. No other reason to ship her up here unless she's doing really, really well. You're getting 20-1 on the morning line, which obviously, I'll take as a price and a leg. I'm going to spread pretty deep. Career best effort last time out. We're just about at that layoff line for this weekend. We're a couple days past it. So I just think, again, she's going to be forward. There's a chance that this pace heats up, but, maybe if Gunsong decides to take back a little bit, or I don't know, she could find herself with an aggressive Ricardo Santana, could find herself on the lead. And we saw just this past weekend, the horse's name is escaping me, but also trained by Saffie Joseph, kind of went to the lead in a very competitive field and managed to hang on. So I want to give Here's the Kicker a look. Hopefully, the My Racehorse money isn't going to affect the price too much, but in the horizontals, I'm not super worried about that. So I want to give Here's the Kicker a look off a career best effort for her. Number 6, none of us are using the 6. Clarette Barrett, as Jackson said, is the 7 who's going to scratch. We have Jody's Pride, the number 9 Gunsong, who is likely to be a pace factor, or at least, pretty close to it. But she's pretty versatile. She can, sit and she can stalk and she can go on the lead. But we'll go out to the number 10, My Main Squeeze. Jackson, I'll go to you second, actually. Or I'll go to you third, I should say, because first, the only reason I'm not using this horse is because I just don't like that she was supposed to run Derby on Derby Day on the undercard in the Derby City Distaff, ended up scratching out of there for this spot, but seems to have kind of missed a work in between there, obviously to kind of ship up here. I don't know if I'm making too much of it, but I'm curious why she was training down in Kentucky and then they opted for this spot, maybe just to get a little bit of a softer competition, but seeing as she's clearly the kind of grade 1 type, I think she could have contended really well in that field. So that gave me a little cause for pause. And again, I was trying to find some prices in here. But Kaylie, I'll go to you to talk about the number 10, My Main Squeeze, before I give it over to Jackson.
Wait, are you saying because she worked at Turfway?
So she was training down at Churchill for a bit, and then her latest work was at Turfway. But she was entered in the Derby City Distaff, is what the race, Derby City Distaff, and then they scratched out of there and elected for this spot. So again, maybe I'm reading too much into it. I just thought, I'm going to try and find a price in here. I think she would have, contended really. The contention went deep if she was running in the My Main Squeeze, but maybe it came down to post position. But at the end of the day, it's not super important.
Yeah, I thought this one was, I only used 3 horses on my ticket. Haven't touched on who I think could win yet, which is the horse all the way to the outside. But this number 10, My Main Squeeze, I think she's just obviously a really competitive horse against this group. She's one of the best fillies in this group. I think the mile distance is perfect for her. You can see that. Her only 2-mile efforts came at this track. Both of them wins. Yes. So that's very positive to see. And I think that obviously she has pretty good early speed, but she's not going to fade either. And we know that because she has a really good foundation with all those route races that she's already run well in. So she's one that I really wanted to have on my ticket. And especially looking with how a lot of those horses that she's been running against have run back as well. And then also I wanted to include the horse who I have on top, the number 11, Headline Numbers. This is a filly that I think if she takes another step up on Saturday, she might surpass the fillies in this group. I think she's getting into a really good motion in her development. I definitely took a good look at her when she won the Top Flight last time out at Aqueduct. I was really impressed by her. She obviously ran a really good race. She took them gate to wire that day. I know it was a 4-horse field, but there was a really heavy favorite in Alpine Princess that day. And, this horse was able to take them gate to wire. Is now cutting back to a mile distance and draws to the outside of all of these horses. So her speed should get her into a really good position early. And she also broke her maiden first time out going this distance. So yeah, I really like this number 11, Headline Numbers. I put her on top. I think she's a really great price on the morning line as well. But yeah, found it to be necessary to use all 3 of those horses. And I left Gunsong off because, I think that I honestly think that she runs her best races going longer. So I wanted to just leave her off. And I think that this is going to be a pretty fast race, and it should set up for a horse like, that's going to come from off the pace as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gunsong's best races are going longer. I included her on my ticket because I think she's a threat, but I also included the 11 Headline Numbers in here because I think 6-1, again, very generous price for a horse that can certainly fit. She's certainly, back on the improve and rounding into really good form since starting her 4-year-old season. And from the outside, we've seen these gun runners do nothing but improve as they get older with age. So certainly one that I think deserves a really close look. Jackson, I'll give you a shot now to talk about the number 10, My Main Squeeze, a horse that you're using. Oh, you're muted.
Doing so well.
You were doing so well, bro.
I picked her last week in the Derby City Distaff, so I have to pick her here by default in this much softer spot. And I did read that's what they had said. They just chose it because they're going to be 2-1 in here rather than 20-1 last Saturday. So I don't want to read too much into where she was working portion, but that's just me. Anytime a horse runs a career top in her first start as a 4-year-old, I mean that's a really good sign. I think. I mean, and she did it in grade 1 as well. So they obviously think she's taken that leap from 3 to 4. She's drawn really well here again. She's supposed to get a good stalking trip on the outside. Kaylie mentioned she's 2 for 2 at the distance. I don't think the mile is going to be a big issue for her. I just think she makes a lot of sense in here. I'll be pressing her up. I'm going to use the 111 a little bit, but I definitely will be pressing up my main squeeze because I think she's the biggest threat by far.
She makes a ton of sense. You mentioned coming back for her 4-year-old season. She ran a career best race. That was the same reason I liked that horse Positano Sunset, who beat her last time in the Madison. Yeah. Seeing them come back in good form is always a positive. So one that I think is a deserving. She's 7-2. I don't think she's the favorite in here, but I would be surprised if she doesn't go off favored. Come post time, because I think she's very deserving. We talked about Gunsong. Jody's Pride's the only other horse that I used that I thought deserves a shot. Just has some back races to get to, not running into the likes of Torpedo Anna in this one. So I wanted to give this one a shot, cutting back to the 1-turn mile where she's really done nothing wrong. She's a neck away from being undefeated around 1 turn. So I thought Jody's Pride certainly deserved a bit of a closer look since a lot of her races have kind of been going longer, around 2 turns in the grade 1 races for those top class fillies and mares. So
who do we not have in our collective tickets? There's like one horse we don't have. Who's the winner of this race?
Colette Barrett is scratching. Dazzling
scratch.
Move. Do we have Dazzling Move? Nobody has Dazzling Move. So Dazzling Move is going to be the winner.
She also
Dazzling Move does scratch.
The 2 is the only horse we don't have. So go to the windows, number 2, people.
Morning Matcha, here we go. Going to be running, going to win, probably for fun at 20-1. So wouldn't that be something? Is that Gary Barber is the owner? It does. All right, moving on to race number 11, the Peter Pan Stakes. Last race of this pick 5 sequence. Thanks everybody for sticking with us and watching. I went 110. Jackson went 1-5. Kaylie went 1-4-6. We got to start with Noah's top Derby pick. So, maybe in the 2026 Kentucky Derby, Vassimo is going to have a shot. But Kaylie, what did you like about this horse? Obviously dropping out of some major competition in Louisiana and the Risen Star.
Yeah, this horse has a really great foundation. Obviously went the longest distance of any Derby prep that we have last time out in the Louisiana Derby, and just kind of ran in a straight line that day, but a horse that, hung on. So that's, a really good foundation to have. Now cutting back in distance, back to the mile and an eighth. And this one obviously is going to send from the 1 hole, I'd imagine. Irad Ortiz stays aboard. That's always a good sign. And I think this one should be able to sit a really nice trip. Like I said, cutting back in distance. You just look, those 2, Derby prep efforts, I kind of drew a line across, even though he wasn't horrible in either. I mean, he didn't do anything necessarily wrong. A lot of horses got tired chasing Magnitude around in that Risen Star, so not going to hold that against him. I think this is the perfect distance for him, and he should come in here with a really great foundation. So didn't want to leave him off my tickets.
I don't disagree. I my top pick is the number 10 in here, but I wanted to include the 1 because Vassimo at 5-1, dropping out of the competition that he's faced, cutting back to a very reasonable spot here as they kind of prep for the Belmont. I would imagine. So I think this one makes a lot of sense. Jackson, you also included this one on your ticket. Anything to add on the number 1 Vassimo?
No, this race is the reason why I played such a light ticket. I just had no idea, and I didn't want to completely overspread in here. Like, it was very tough. You can make a case for just about anyone, really. I wish he'd run a little bit better in the Louisiana Derby because he was kind of way back there in that sizzling pace where it kind of collapsed, and he ran fine. He just didn't really come running that as much as I would have hoped, I guess I should say. But there are definitely reasons to think he could take another step forward, which he could, and if he does, he'll be right there. I think the key for this horse is probably to just be much closer to the pace.
Yeah, I think so too. Jackson, we'll stick with you as we go down to the number 5, McAfee, not named after the former punter, but named after the computer software, I guess. What's up?
Kaylie, you don't have this horse?
No.
Come on. Oh, my God. This is your horse. I thought for sure we're on the same page here. All right. Yeah, McAfee is one. it was either before or after the Gotham. I can't remember where he scratched a bunch of times. I think it was before, and then he came back in the Gotham, ran okay, ran kind of evenly, just one pace the whole time. And then I thought he had kind of a weird trip in the wood. He was forward, then he fell back, then came forward again. It just seemed like he ran in spots. So I think the blinkers are going to do him a lot of good. I can't talk. It's been a long week. Blinkers are going to do him a lot of good. I think he'll be a little bit closer than last time. He's also making his third start after his form cycle, so I think we'll see, a career best effort. I would hope. And 8-1, I think is a really good price in a field where I don't trust Hill Road. I don't trust Captain Cook or whatever his name is. I don't trust the two favorites at all. So I think I definitely want a bit of a price, and he fits the bill for me.
I like it. We should talk about the 4. I believe it's the 4 Hill Road. Real quick, because none of us have Captain Cook. Jackson, can you tell me why I don't like Captain Cook in this race?
Because you're a Peter Pan fan? I don't know why.
No, look at the sire, man. All right, Hill Road. Kaylie, you use this horse. On your pick 5 ticket as well. Obviously, should have been a big way. Should have been a big way in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Oh man, I just almost knocked over everything. What did you like about this runner coming back off the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Derby win? Third place finish.
Yeah, I can understand the mindset that obviously this horse's larger goal is going to be the Belmont, but so maybe he's not going to win from a handicapping perspective, but definitely just watching this horse in his last 2 starts, he was able to run pretty decent races and make up ground, especially in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with really no pace to close into whatsoever. Tampa Bay Derby definitely jumps off the page that this horse ran a way better race than Chancellor McPatrick, who finished second and beat him that day. But Chancellor McPatrick was sitting way closer than Hill Road was, and I think Hill Road ran a pretty respectable race that day, chasing Lone Speed and Owen Almighty, who we just saw came back and ran pretty good race in the Kentucky Derby. So I think that it's less so about the pace that this horse gets. I think obviously having a bit more to run into, which he very well could get, could help him out. But I think also stretching out to 1 mile and an eighth is going to make this horse pretty dangerous. Obviously, based on the pedigree, but also based on his running style, you would just imagine if that horse had a little bit more ground in either of those starts, he would have ran better. I like, the stretch out in distance and gets Flavian Pratt aboard for the first time ever. So that definitely jumped off the page. I'm putting this one on top. I'm not using Captain Cook. The pedigree, but also because of the conditions that he's going to have to get the 1 mile and an eighth distance under again. I don't think it's going to be possible. We saw what happened when he faced horses of the next level of class in the Wood Memorial, and I don't really think that we're going to. It's not like this is as deep as the Wood Memorial, but I think it's a lot deeper than the Withers, in my opinion. So I really don't think that he's going to set an ideal trip to get 1 mile and an eighth, given his pedigree. But so I did land on the number 4 Hill Road, stretching out in distance, made him pretty interesting to me.
I like it. He's proven that he can close into slow paces. He's done it twice now in his U.S. races, where Citizen Bull was able to walk on the lead, having Gaming as his bodyguard. Owen Almighty was able to pretty much walk on the lead with another horse that was playing bodyguard. He closed really well in both of those races. Don't shake your head, Jackson. Watch the race back. There was certainly a bodyguard situation going on. Either way, if this horse can get some pace in front of him, which Captain Cook's going to be up on the lead. There's some others that can be forward. So I'm with you. This one scares me. I just can't take the 5-2 off the layoff. Like I'm with you. I think the Belmont going forward is really going to fit him, assuming he progresses nicely into his 3-year-old campaign off that last third place finish in the Tampa Bay Derby. So one that I'm going to keep an eye on, but one that unfortunately is going to have to beat me. But at least you'll have him on your ticket. So we talked about McAfee. Second to last one we'll talk about. Kaylie, I'll go back to you for the number 6 Uncaged for Pletcher and Carmouche.
Yeah, this horse obviously ran a pretty competitive race last time out. I thought He's going to have to switch off Lasix, but has already proven to run well without it on debut. I just thought this was another interesting one that's going to be forwardly placed. Obviously, Todd Pletcher has 2 horses in this race, which was kind of my idea for playing against Captain Cook in the first place. I think that he sends the one with Captain Cook, or sends one of these with Captain Cook, and it's going to likely set up for one of the others. I wanted both of them on my ticket. I know I'm playing Hill Road on top, but the 2 Pletchers as like a duo teaming up on Captain Cook look pretty dangerous to me. And this one has good enough speed to get into the mix early, and certainly has the pedigree that would suggest that stretching out to the 1.125 distance will be his friend. So wanted to include him on my ticket.
I like it. Should be no problem. Captain Cook is the 8 horse. Yeah, for the same reason I didn't like Simply Joking, I don't like Captain Cook going 1.125. So I like the number 10 Lordship, who's a horse that we talked about in the Long Branch Stakes. Jackson, I knew that would get a good reaction out of you. So is there any do we know where you're still muted, brother?
I agree with this horse. I don't necessarily agree with all other sons of Vekoma or Practical Joke.
Well, you played that the Vekoma going 2 turns earlier today. That didn't seem to work out. Anyway, sorry. All right, Lordship, last horse we'll talk about in the last race today. I don't know if this one is going to run here or in the Long Branch Stakes at Monmouth that we talked about to kick off the show. Monmouth. And never mind.
I literally started reading it as you were talking. It says most likely to run at Monmouth. So not as.
And he looks like a likely winner there. So
he does look like a good winner there. Kaylie, you picked this horse to start the show in the Long Branch Stakes. You picked this one on top, Drew Post 3. I'm picking this one as my top pick in the nightcap at Aqueduct or Belmont at Aqueduct. So unfortunately, it sounds like he's going to run over in Monmouth. So I don't know who I'll pivot to quite yet. If I'm gonna, maybe I just single Vassimo and kind of hope for the best there. But
press it up.
There we go. I'll press it up. With Noah's top Derby pick for the year, one of his 6. But yeah, Lordship, I thought deserved a huge look in here if he were to run. Deserves a huge look in the Long Branch Stakes as again, that the winner at debut at Tampa, closing from off the pace, doing it in the way he did. Is clearly signs of a good horse. Even if it's for a trainer like Chad Brown, to do that is still impressive. Typically, that's against the track bias at Tampa. His closing is something that's not really easy to do. So that's 10 Lordship, but sounds like he's going to be running at Monmouth. Go ahead, Kaylie.
Yeah, I did want to touch on one more horse I don't have on my ticket. But if you do like McAfee, I mean, you're going to have to take a very long look at this horse. That's the number 3, Surfside Moon. I'll probably play him in, I did play him in, I think, like a big super I made for Saturday. But yeah, this horse has made up ground and closed into some pretty slow paces as well. Obviously, his best race ever that he's run has been at Aqueduct, going the 1.125 distance when he finished second to Captain Cook at a huge price. And now he comes back and, he's 8-1 on the morning line after that effort at Laurel Park. But I think it's pretty likely that this one is going to be making up ground regardless of the pace scenario, just as we saw in the Withers, and also gets Junior Alvarado aboard for the first time ever. So yeah, if you like any of the closers in here, definitely take a long look at the number 3. Probably going to use them in some exotics, but
yeah. If you remember the show that we had covering the Withers Stakes, we had David Aragona on. He gave this horse out as his long shot look, and this horse ran a really nice second. So certainly one to keep an eye out for as this one gets back to a track where he fired his best effort. All right, that is the late pick 5 at Aqueduct. We did it. That was productive. Next time, I think I'll check the scratches beforehand. Jackson's already saluting like he's on his way out. But thank you everybody for watching. I do appreciate it. These are our pick 5 tickets below. I'm going 1, 4, 5 with 1, with 7, with 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, with 1 and 10. Sounds like the 10 is going to scratch, but that's $15 as it stands right now. Jackson is going 5 with 4, with 4, 6, 11, with 1, 10, 11, with 1, 5 for a $9 ticket. And Kaylee's going 1, 3, 4 with the 4, with 4, 7, 8, with 4, 10, 11, with 1, 4, 6. That is an excellent ticket by all 3 of us. Press it up if you're playing Jackson or mine, as mine looks like it's going to be about $7.50. So somehow I've beaten Jackson's price of a ticket. And follow along, change if you like anything else, and best of luck to everybody. Fun show. It's happy to get the 3 of us back on the screen for a big Hoof Energy show. It's been about about a month if you don't include the race we did last week for the Derby. So it was fun to be back. Kaylie, what do you have going on this week? Obviously, you and Matthew do nothing but pump out content for Naira Bet. So what do we have to look forward to?
We put up a Peter Pan preview on the YouTube channel yesterday. We had a really great discussion, I think, about the pace and Captain Cook, and yeah, definitely give it a listen for just like a more in-depth look at the Peter Pan. And Matthew has a lot of Preakness stuff going out already. Probably going to do a reaction to the draw with him on Monday, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, excited for this week and obviously the Preakness too.
I like it. Jackson, what about you? In the money shows, whatever else you got going on, tournament plays, tournament wins. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been a fun tournament week, I gotta say. I've been playing with the same original deposit since Monday, and I played like 9 tournaments this week, so doing well.
Including Evangeline and Mountaineer and everywhere in between. Yeah. So hey, you're staying alive though. You're just helping the churn. So keep it up though. No, it's good to see you succeed in the tournaments. But yeah, that was a fun show. We'll be back next week with more Big Hoof Energy, more Get Bucked episodes. Get Bucked, I'd imagine we're going to cover the Preakness, as that's going to be coming up next Saturday. Maybe we'll do that on Big Hoof Energy. Who knows? But stay tuned. We'll announce it on X. But thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, peace.